darn. This is the second attempt at this video. I made the video and the thing crashed, so I'm gonna give this a go again. I'm gonna try to cut this down because I was talking for a while before. So anyway, let's talk about my 3 trades today. I did bought 3 trades, and you know, you can all go to my YouTube. I have a YouTube page, so let's see. I don't know, my computer's acting crazy, so I'm giving this another opportunity. Hopefully this will not crash. I don't know what's going on. So I do, for those of you that are watching this for the first time or may not be aware, I have a YouTube page that I have a ton of content. Just type watchotrade. You may get bullish bears as well, because I did a lot of videos for them. You can subscribe to them too. But I have my own YouTube channel, so if you click on watchotrade YouTube, you'll see I have like these videos. I think I gotta, yeah. And then if you go to playlist, go to playlist, you're gonna see that I categorized everything. All right, so if you go to this watch list videos for October, you'll see that I created a video on Saturday talking about dip buying, and you know, I think, and I put it to play today, and you could have too. I also have a Twitter, and if you were on my Twitter feed today, you would have seen that I talked about a couple of entries today. So let me go to my Twitter, and we'll talk about those 3 plays, and then I'll talk about, there's Adonis there. All right, so my first trade was actually a pre-market trade where I dip bought TRXC. All right, and I bought it at 230, risking 231. Now, why did I feel comfortable doing that? So let's pull that chart up. TRTC, right? Oh, wrong company. What is it? TRXC. Sorry about that. All right, so let me move all these for you. So you can look at this closely. So it's got some pre-market news. You can go to Yahoo Finance and figure out, I don't know, I looked at it and I just don't remember what it was, but there was some news that caused the stock to spike. And if you see, you know, it started moving pre-market, and by like let me zoom in more, and by about 6:13 it had hit its high. You know, when stocks spike like this, especially pre-market, people are going to start shorting it even in pre-market, like the real seasoned traders do. And you know, at this point I'm getting ready for work, and I already had left. So I had left around this time. I wasn't even, you know, I was on the train on my way. I'm here in New York, so you know, I got to work and the stock was still, you know, gapping down, and you know, I had these short little pops, but nothing significant to give me confidence that, you know, it wasn't going to continue to gap down. And you know, all along the way down, if you want, you can always put your little, you know, resistance lines and support lines and all that kind of stuff. But I caught it, you know, somewhere around, I think it was like around here. I actually caught the stock, and it was still gapping down, and I saw it completely gap, and then I saw this big wick, which told me, okay, maybe this is gonna be the low. And you know, I put my little trend line there, and you know, you see the stock start gapping up, right? And then it sort of pulled back. And when it pulled back, I saw it pulling back, and I saw it find its support here. So what is that telling me? It's telling me that it formed a higher low, which is telling me that this is a new support level. And to me, it's a good risk reward, because you know, you're risking 10 cents to make, you know, hopefully 20, you know. So you know, once I saw that this was starting to reverse right in this candle here, I took a position. I went in 2,000 shares, and I just watched it go up. You know, basically I just watched this gap up. It got as high as 263, and I saw it here was finding it, like, you know, the volume was kind of starting to fade and it's starting to weaken. So I just covered, and I covered like right into, I think it was right into this when it started going down. I got executed at 259. So I got in at it was 242, got out at 259. You know, 2,000 shares. You know, almost $400 there. You know, and you know, subtract 990, it's 495 to buy and sell. So I always subtract 990 from every trade I make. You know, great trade, and the market hadn't even opened yet. You know, and I did this while I was drinking tea, real quick. You know, so you know, and then I just took my attention away from it. There was an opportunity actually. Look, when the market opened, it gapped up, it bounced right off that support level here where my entry was, and you know, you could have dip bought it again if you really wanted to, but I my attention was off at that moment. And then on Twitter I posted this. Now had you watched what I wrote on Twitter and got in when I got in, you would have made some bank. So next trade I took was on GLUU. It was on my watch list. Both of those stocks were on my watch list. So let's pull up GLUU. GLUU's been moving, and you know, this thing continues to gap higher and higher. I think it still has more to run. Let's remove all this. Clear. Drawing set, and I'll pull up the big chart, make it a little easier for everyone. So, you know, after I got on that trade, I caught GLUU somewhere in here. Now, GLUU would have been this. If you notice, the stock, you know, pre-market, it got as high as 448, and you know, and then the stock, you know, market opened, and it found its low right here, and you know, it kind of had this big spike because this is you know, people who try to short it here covering, so it got this big spike, and you're gonna notice that it found its resistance point right here at that 451 level. It just kept tapping it, coming down, coming up, tap, tap, tap. That would have been a great short entry. And I caught the stock about right when it broke below VWAP at 447. You know, it had this big wick, so it got as low as 442, and then started gapping up. Now, I could have shorted it. I don't know. I just didn't. I'm just gonna watch to see. You know, this thing is, you know, gapping down on a lot of volume. It's gonna find a support level at some point, and shorts are gonna cover. And sure enough, that's what happened. Now look where it found support. Remember I talked about this in my video? That's why it's so important to do support and resistance. Look, the opening low, right, which was support. Look what happened. That's where it found support, and again on the sell-off, and short sellers saw that it wasn't going to break below it, so they started to cover. So when I saw the stock starting to gap up, and then I saw this candle, 1 minute candle, where it finished red, but it was higher than the 437, right into this candle, I went long, risking this really easy. And what did I say? I said I was looking for it to oops, let me go back to my Twitter. I was saying I was looking for it to fill the gap. So I said looking I got it for 40, looking at it to fill the gap, looking for a gap fill, and if it fails, short if it fails 451, just like in the video where I talked about. So what I meant by that is, let's pull up the big chart. Sorry about that, guys. So so this was the high of the day, right? You see that it gapped down. So that's the resistance point. So I was thinking, all right, maybe it'll get back to that resistance point and then just tank, or at least to like 450. So once I got in, this is the 13 EMA. I used the 13 EMA, guys, and you know, I just rode this up. You know, you can see that it had moments where it went red, finished red a couple of times, but it's all higher lows. So that is telling me that there's still strength in the stock. And I just literally rode all this up. Now, I thought about potentially, now look what happened here. It got up all the way here to 447, and then, you know, kind of pulled back. But look, it kind of like got to like where the VWAP was. But look, this became 445, came the new support level. So that told me, you know, if it breaks below, I was gonna, you know, sell. But, you know, it held strong. And remember, when a stock is above VWAP, that's a bullish sign. And sure enough, the stock continued to gap up, and I just rode this all the way up, you know, and I saw it break 450. I was shocked, and it just kept going. And in this candle, you know, it didn't break below 450. I said, if it breaks below 450, I'm gonna sell. And it touched it, but it kept going, and I got greedy. I'm not gonna lie, I got greedy, and you know, it touched here again, and then it just kept going up, and it got up to the 450 high, held strong through all this, and then right into this where I started seeing the selling pressure. I got out, and I got executed. I think at a 450. I think it was 454 point something. I got out. So that was nice, you know. And I got in. I took another 2,000 share position, you know, at 440. Got out 454. Made 15. I think it was like 15 cents on that, you know. So I made I don't know, like close to $300, $300, $275, $300 on that stock. I think it was $300 actually I made. So on my first trade, it was 2,000 shares. I made close to $600. So, you know, I was up almost, I think it was almost $900 at that point. And then I took one last trade, which wasn't on my watch list, but I saw it gap up pre-market through I have trade ideas, and I saw it there, which was FCX. And I just literally pulled up the chart. This was like a little later. I pulled up the chart. There was no reason why I looked at the chart other than I knew it was up, and I trade this stock a lot, so I'm very familiar with it. I love shorting it actually, and you know, this is a stock that gapped up. It's one of those copper, gold, and miner companies, and you know, it was up and to 1559. And let me just remove all this clear drawing set so you can see. And it was gapping down. I actually caught the stock like somewhere over here. I actually saw the stock when I pulled up the chart, and that I saw. So I immediately put a trend line here, and I saw it was forming a higher low right in here. And you know, so I started seeing, you know, it was kind of like gapping up, and what I did was I put another trend line here to see the high, just to see if it was gonna break that channel. And you can see here, you know, it was like touching here. It didn't break, but for a second it kind of dipped below it, but this seemed to be clear support, and this seemed to be new higher low, forming a new support level. And if you notice, now it's starting to form this like U shape, where it's starting to, and the U shape usually means that the stock is going to gap up. So when I saw that it was starting to trend, I got in like right in this candle, which was 1510, and I just literally rolled this up. I just rolled this up. It was nice. I got it. I only took 1,000 shares on this trade, and you know, I rolled this all the way up till I just watched it till it was gonna reverse. So as long as it didn't revert, I didn't see a clear reversal, I stood in. Right here is where I saw the clear reversal, and I actually got out like right here. I think it was 1523 I got out, you know, which was nice. So, you know, I made like 10 cents, which I think I made like $100. So, you know, so I did well today. And you see, I didn't take monster size and all that, and you can take trades like these and you can do very well. So those were the 3 trades, all dip buys, guys. I didn't short. I was gonna short AKS. I pulled up AKS, and I don't know why. I just didn't pull the trigger. I saw the stock actually up here. I actually caught it when it was at its top, and I saw here it formed a low high right here. I could have shorted it right here, and I didn't. I don't know why I didn't pull the trigger, and the stock actually had a nice pullback. You see this thing. Man, I missed a big opportunity here. And I short this stock a lot. Don't know why I didn't. I just didn't pull the trigger. I have no excuse. It was the perfect opportunity and I didn't pull the trigger. So, those were my trades, all right? Now, you know, I use these scanners here. Now I got trade ideas, but I also use my Thinkorswim scans, but they've been acting up. Like, they're not, like when the market opens, they're supposed to be working. They're not. You gotta like resave them and do all this crazy shit you didn't have to do before. I don't know what's going on with them. But I also use if you don't, you know, you can always go to Finviz. So if you go to finviz.com, you can go there, and on Finviz, a lot of times most people do is they just look at the top, you know, the tickers that were the most active with the most volume, and they usually put a lot of these on their watch list. And you know, because you expect them to be the most volatile generally. What I like to do is I go to screener, and then in screener I go to all, and then in all I'll put my parameters. So you know, it depends. Sometimes I put stocks under 50, 40, 30, usually 30 or under. Sometimes I'll trade $90 or $100 stocks. I'm not opposed to trading the higher price stocks. Actually you get a lot of points on them. So I usually do this, and then what I'll do is I'll put like the RSI. Sometimes I like to look for stocks where the RSI is above 70 and above. So I'll put that, and I'll put like stocks that are up at least 3%, that have at least over 750,000 shares traded for the day, and relative volume of over 1. And these are the stocks that come up. Now what I do then at that point, I go to charts, and then I click on this candle, and then what you can do is like it's a nice view to look at charts really quickly. And what I like to do is look for stocks like these that hold their highs, because Stocks that hold their highs with volume generally are volatile the next day. That's my whole premise, and I like to short them because they're up and people are going to take profit. So I like to short them or dip buy them. Like a stock like this, AUDC, it's a stock, look, it's holding its highs. And you can click on it, and then it gives you all the information. 40% of the stock is owned by insiders, which means that maybe because it looks like it's at its yearly high, may continue higher. Who knows? But my assumption is that it's probably due for somewhat of a pullback. And, the short float is not high. There's not a lot of people shorting the stock, which is telling me that, it can continue higher. Or that people may look, tomorrow to short it. They may see it high and they may see, maybe it's worth shorting. So, the RSI is 82. So, it's due for a little bit of a pullback. So a stock like that, and I had in the video that I did previously, I already started building my watch list for tomorrow. These are stocks in the video before it crashed were the ones I looked at. It AUDC was one I added. What I also was telling people was that in the other video was that you go through the charts and you kind of figure out which ones you want to put in. Like RCON is probably a stock that I would look at, even though I couldn't short it because it's a hard to borrow stock. What I would be looking at as a stock like this, one's low float, so it's volatile. And look at today. Like today's a perfect example of when a stock gaps up. Just like I showed you on the video Saturday. It's gonna gap up, and at some point it's gonna find its height. And once it finds its height, you gotta just be patient and watch the sell-off. These are shorters bringing it down. Some point it's gonna find a support level. You just gotta watch the volume. You see more selling than buying. It dips below VWAP, which is it's telling you that it's gonna be more selling pressure. But at some point it's gonna find a support level, and you're gonna get a reversal where you can dip buy. So here it finds its support level. And you put in trend lines all the way down. And here what would give me the confirmation is that as it's starting to gap up and it does the pullback, it forms the higher low, which is telling me that this is clearly the new low and this is the new support level. And that break over $2, you could have took this long and got 20 cents at a minimum, but you could have held through all this because it didn't even get back to that 2, and it got all the way as high as what? As 240, 237. And I think it continued up. Let's see. How high did it get? Yeah, it got as high as 237. So, $2 is not expensive. So, if you have a $10,000 account or even a $5,000 account, you could have took 2,000 shares on this, and rode it up. Let's say you got it out at let's say 235, at 2,000 shares, at $600. So, and it's a safe play because, you got the confirmation at the pullback that the support is strong and that you can take it long, and, you're not risking much, only a couple of cents. That's why dip buying is great, But, sometimes some people get faked out. They'll see like here and they think this is the clear support and they dip buy it and it goes like oh, let me zoom out. And then, you think, oh, this is the clear support level, and you buy here at like 230 and it gets to like 233 and then it just continues to collapse. But all right, that's okay because, if you take the loss, it's a small loss because that the support line is your stop. If it, maybe a couple of cents below it. So that's why I like dip buying because, you know your entry, your exit. You're not risking much if you're watching it closely, and that's what I do. So in terms of FinViz, what you can also do is, let's say you could put your RSI as any and just keep everything else the same. And then what you can do is you can kind of track all the stocks that are up, and you can look for stocks for potential plays. Like look, ETRM is a stock that got some volume today, right? And look at that gap fill. I mean, it had some volume today. And ETRM, I traded this before. If we pull up the stock, and I already put it there because I started doing the watch list, and if you look at it, let's go on the 1 year. This is a stock that has some volume, and if we put up the 1 year, this is a stock that has gone from $1 to $30 in a couple of days. So if we get some volume, it can move. I'm gonna put up the 10-day, 30-minute chart. Look what it has to do. So it gapped up. This is after hours. It's moving. I think that this is Deckmark Trades chat room pumping it. To be honest with you, I know he pumped it today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But if it breaks 245, this thing can move. Let me pull the 180-day chart. Look at this. It has this gap fill. I mean, this is all resistance areas, but theoretically, there's no reason why the stock cannot get back up and fill the gap, which would be, the gap fill would be right here, which would be 435. So I'm definitely going to be watching to see if this thing gets some volume. If it gets moving, I may take a crack at it. I can't short it, unfortunately. It's hard to borrow. And that's what I do, guys. You know, you just look at these charts. You look at for stocks, you know, that are volatile. I like to usually look for stocks that are holding their highs, like a stock like this, like JP, which is, you know, a more expensive company. But if I pull up JP, let me pull up JP. I think it's JP Morgan. Oh no, this is not JP Morgan. Look at this stock. This thing's gone from $7 to $24. That's nuts. You know, let me do the 2-day 1 minute. You know, so this is a stock that has, you know, opened up at 20. It's at $24. You gotta expect tomorrow that, I don't know what the fundamentals are, but just based on the technicals, you gotta think that tomorrow this stock is gonna pull back. You know, it's some bullshit company. I don't know if it's available to short. Let me see. JP, none to borrow. I don't know if there'll be shorts available to borrow. It showed 1.8 million shares traded, but you gotta think that, you know, hopefully maybe they have some shares tomorrow. But even not, this thing will probably pull back, and you can buy it. You can dip buy it, but it's definitely due for a pullback. It's crazy. But you know, this is what I kind of look for. So what I'm gonna do is just to stop the video, because I don't want to make this too long, and I'm actually tired. I'll keep building my watch list. Again, I look for stocks that I think are going to be volatile, that are going to move either up or down, and you know, I try to make a trade on them. And then sometimes in the morning, you know, I'll find stocks, you know, that are gapping pre-market, and I'll completely ignore whatever I've made. So you know, you got to be cognizant, you got to be paying attention, you got to be looking at news, you know, FinViz, Yahoo Finance, and all that stuff. So I hope this made sense. I'll keep building my watch.